good afternoon, Rippers. I hope you're having another fabulous day. We are one more day closer to Christmas. Woo! Right? Who doesn't love Christmas? I know I love it. I don't love it so much. The gifts are fun. They're fine. But I like it more about the time with the family, having a lazy morning, a cup of coffee, right? Seeing the smiles on everybody's faces, having a good meal that evening. You know, about the memories you make during that time off. So make sure you look for ways to make memories, right? Because that's the only thing we can really take with us, right? Yeah, everything else they can take from you. But memories, well, they're yours to keep. Anyway, I found a nifty gift. Now, it isn't the cheapest gift out there, but if you're looking for somebody that you want to really, that you think really needs a preparedness kit, right? Or that, that you really care about a lot too, right? And you want to know that they're okay if they get into emergency, whether it's out driving around or, you know, up in the hills going playing in the snow, which happens this time of year, right? Usually after Christmas too, right? Well, that they'll have some things they need that might help them out when they're in an emergency type situation, right? And again, it's at Wally World. It's kind of a neat one. Haven't seen this there before at all. And, excuse me. And it's a survival kit that's pre-made. Now, I know a lot of those can kind of be, right? This one's not so bad. So let's have a look. First off, it comes in this dry bag. Now, this isn't your flimsy dry bag like you've seen before. This is like the real deal kind of dry bag, like the kind I use for elk hunting and diving to keep things cold, dry on the boat, all those kind of things. I mean, it's the hard, thick gauge rubber reinforced material. You fill it up. It's like a stuff bag. You just keep putting stuff in there. You squeeze the air out. You roll it like this. You give her a clip and water can't get in. And with the air trapped in it, it usually floats. That's another plus. Now think about it. You could even use this, say you're stuck, you don't have any water, you're out in the mountains, but you hear a creek, right? You could use this to gather a whole crud load of water. This thing probably holds at least 2 gallons, if not more. That's amazing. I think that's a great start. And it's something they can put that's bright. They can see it in the back of their car, grab, yank it up, and head to wherever the emergency is. That's another plus. My personal FAC or IFAC, it's not an individual. Mine's more of a trauma IFAC, but it's in the back of my car. It's red also so that I can see it and grab it, right? And everybody knows what it is. So that's the start. That's a great start for Wally World. Now, next, it has Sos Food Labs hermetically sealed emergency water. This is the first important thing, is it not? That's right. So it's not only got one pack of water, it's got 2 big old packets, which have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 per packet, right? And what they're saying is this kit is enough for 2 people, right? It says here, it's a 72-hour waterproof survival kit, 2-person, 130 pieces. Okay, now let's go over some of the things it's got in here. We've got these Sos Food Blocks, right? These are those emergency rations. Some people call them, what do you call those? Emergency raft rations. They're usually in the pouch and those kind of things. These are great because, really honestly, they really don't go bad if they stay sealed like this. They may not be as good or as fresh, but they'll still get the job done in an emergency, and they got a long shelf life. Now, that being said, it comes with 2 of these, right? So 1 for one person, 1 for the other for 72 hours. So you don't eat it all in one sitting. And if you didn't know, I have a video where I test these food rations and other emergency food block rations like this to let you know how they taste. Were they filling? I didn't just taste them and eat them and say, yeah, those are pretty good, they work. I actually used them to fuel me for an entire day of work, right? To see if it was enough to keep me going. So look that video up. It's a good one. And I test others too, as well as freeze-dried meals, etc. Those are great videos. A lot of people enjoyed them. That being said, we've got 2 days worth of food rations right there. Now, we've got 2 oversized ponchos. These aren't your real super cheap dollar ones. These are probably your maybe $3 ones, $4 ones. They're bright so people can see them if they're in an emergency and out there wearing them. Somebody flies over from above, can see these bright colors. And there's a lot of things you can do with these pouches, but got one for each person. Or ponchos. Did I say pouches? I meant ponchos. Boy, oh boy, I better work up on my Spanish. Anyway, then we've got 2 emergency blankets. And these look like they're a little bigger than the norm. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, they're a few inches bigger than the normal ones, but we got 2 of them. They look like good quality. So we got one for each person there. Now, we've also got first aid equipment. So let's get into the first aid equipment. We've got 1 burn gel relief packet, extra large one. This is really handy. How many times you've been out camping and you get burnt, right? Your car breaks down, you're working on it. You get burnt, right? Trying to light that cigarette you shouldn't be smoking and you get burnt. So, got an emergency burn gel packet. And we've got one of those instant cold ice packs. Now, these are something that I've used many times when the kids were younger out playing sports and whatnot. And they might have sprained something, your ankle, things like that. These are really great to put on those kind of injuries to keep the swelling down. So it's got one of those. Now, we've got a roll of medical tape, right? This looks like a vinyl medical tape. So check into it if you're allergic. If you're allergic, you might want to switch this up because a lot of people are out there. But we got one roll of that. We've got a small container of hand sanitizer. These days, that's a good thing because you never know the cootie somebody else has got. That too, so you can wash your hands up before and after. Let's see, we've got 2 rolls of sterile gauze, right? Everything's in meters in this, or metric. So you got 2, what looks like about 1.5 inch gauze. You've got a roll of toilet paper. Some may say that's the most important thing if anything was an example from the beginning of the coof, right? So you've got a roll of, like a compact roll of toilet paper. That in itself can be a lifesaver traveling. How many times have you done the duck walk as you screeched off the road in the middle of nowhere to find a tree that was just right? Right? Okay, now we got here an elastic bandage. This is a good size one. This is about a 3.5, 4-inch elastic bandage that you can put for a sprained ankle. You can even put the ice pack on the ankle and then wrap this around it so that they can walk around with some ice on there to keep the swelling down. Also protects the ankle from overextending again, right? So that's a good thing to have. Now, we've got a basic first aid instruction packet or manual. So that being said, this gives you probably the basics of what to do. And some may say, well, I already know what to do. I don't need that. But what's important about this is in a high stress situation, your mind's not going to work quite like it always does when you're calm. Sure, right now we can sit down and think about all of the should do's and shouldn't do's. But when things are happening and fluid, your mind has a tendency to not be able to connect the dots, if you know what I mean. So it's a good thing to not only have this for you in case you need a quick reminder to get you refocused, but it's good you can hand it to the person with you. You know, the one that you told to go call 911 if that was an option while you tended to the patient in assessment, right? Right. So that's a handy deal to have there too. Now, it's got, what do we got here? We got 2, 4, 6, 8. We got 8 alcohol pads, right? And then we've got for cleaning. And then we've got alcohol-free, 2 big alcohol-free cleaning pads, right? We've got miscellaneous sizes of bandages. Now these, of course, are the ones you're going to wipe out of your kit most. So remember this, good tip. If you use something from the kit that day, write it down on the notepads I talked about in the previous video and fill it that day. Take your little notepad of what you took out of your kit and used and go fill it right then. Because if you don't, I promise you, the next emergency will come and you won't have it. So that being said, got some miscellaneous band-aids. That's a handy thing to have because bumps, scrapes, everything makes you look like a hero to your little one. And we all do it, especially me. You guys know I cut myself all the time. So I go through Band-Aids like you wouldn't believe. Now, that being said, we go to the next thing. We've got cotton swabs, they call them, or coof test strips. If you want to know what it's like to get a coof test, jam this thing right up until you tickle your brain and you're there. But these are what I call Q-tips, but that's a name brand. So cotton swabs, right? Those are handy to have. We've got 2x2 sterile gauze swabs, right? In case you need to make a bigger bandage yourself using the tape and the swab, right? To help stop something that might be bleeding a little bit more. And then we've got a pack of, a pack of large, one size fits all rubber gloves. They look like nitrile because they're blue. So we've got those in there. Those are the first thing you need to glove up with, and if you got fluids somewhere, right? Right. So that's a handy thing to have. Moleskin. Now this is the thinner moleskin. This is for blisters and stuff like that. This is another one that you're probably going to use often and need to replace often. I use these all the time, especially if you're out hiking, right? You should have this in your backpack or your bug out bag because you might be putting some miles on, and even though your boots should be broke in, you might still get a blister. This will, I'm telling you, you will be thankful that you had it. Now, they make thicker stuff, so you can get that too, and that's the kind of stuff I use, but this would work in a pinch. So, let's get on to what they give here for survival gear. Now, some of you may agree or disagree with the kit. I'm just showing you what's in this so you can see if there's a value there. And remember, this kit is designed to give to somebody that has nothing, that doesn't think about it, but you love and care about them enough that you want them to at least have something. And you know what's going to happen. An emergency is going to happen at the house, in their car, out in the woods, wherever it may be. And they're going to think, oh no, what am I going to do? Oh, we're in the middle of nowhere. We don't have anything. And then they're going to go, ding, and that light bulb's literally going to appear above their head. And they're going to go, but we got that kit that my loved one gave me. How special was that? So when we get into the survival stuff, we've got a flashlight with batteries. Now I'd put some extra batteries in the kit, but still got a decent flashlight for batteries. Or excuse me, a decent flashlight with batteries. So that being said, we got that, but they backed it up with a flashlight that you can crank because you never know. Batteries are going to go dead. You might not use this thing for 10 years. If that's the case, those batteries might be questionable. But this one, look at that. It's always going to work. I love these. Anytime somebody gives this kind of swag away, I take it. And if anybody else leaves theirs behind, I take that one too. If they don't want it, of course. I don't steal. But, okay, then we've got a roll of duct tape. Now, they've miniaturized the roll of duct tape, but we got a roll of duct tape because duct tape fixes everything. Then we've got one of these match kits, right, that have the compass and the whistle and a little fire it's even got a ferrocerium rod on it. It's got a lanyard, right? But the only thing it doesn't have is matches in it. So you're going to want to put some matches in it. I think that's kind of funny. They give a kit, but they don't give you matches. So you're thinking, how are we going to start a fire? Well, we're getting to that. But still, you want to go ahead and put yourself some of those, you know, those waterproof matches I showed you in an earlier video. Put some of those in there. Then you got something that's worth it. There you go. And it's bright, too. And I believe if you take the cap off, it's got one of them little mirrors in there for signaling. Now, it's awful small, but something's better than nothing. So, got that. We've got a roll of high visibility, right, paracord. That can help you build a shelter. That can help you do a lot of things. You guys have seen all the videos. You know what this stuff does. So they give you a length of that. Then it's got a strap for the bag. You can clip it on so that you have a strap. You can also use strap for many other things that we've gone over in videos before too. So we got the strap for the bag. Now we've got, hello Benny, how are you doing? You want to be part of the video? You always are. Anyway, we've got safety pins. See those? Those are safety pins. Beat it. And look at that, how they put those on there. They put them on there, clipped it together. Safety pins have a lot of uses. Can build a fishing hook out of it. You can use it to repair broken material. You can, if you're super cool and want the 80s look, you can pin the bottom of your the cuffs on your pants, right? You can put this thing through your nose or your ear or somewhere else on your clothing or jacket to make it look like punk, right? Yeah, there's all kinds of things you can do with clothespins, even survival-wise. Then we've got a pair of tweezers. Now it's a little plastic tweezers, but they still do work. And for getting out them slivers and various other items that might have, you know, shot into your body from the shrapnel from the IED that you just avoided, right? Right. So we've got those. Now, we've also got a pair of bandage scissors. Now, they're not the high speed, you know, EMT style ones. However, you do have them and they do work for cutting the tape. Use this because you don't want to be putting your teeth to tape that might have bodily fluids on it. So here you go. You can also probably cut some jeans with this, although it might be a little bit of a work for this one. But I think these are meant to be bandage scissors. However, you got them, right? And the last, not the last item, but you also got a ferrocerium rod with a striker. So I told you, they had a way for you to start a fire, and yes, it will work. Look at that. So in a pinch, you can get yourself a fire started. Then the last item it looks like is one of those, like you've seen in the video before, those 10-in-1 tools, right? That's right. And like I said, handy, because if you had cans that you put into your car as your normal oh shit materials, right? You can open the cans. You can also open the bottle of beer. That's, of course, long before you drive or long after you drive. But you've got all those handy things that were on there. You've got a little knife blade and everything else. So that's kind of a handy thing to have. Now, that's the kit. Now, you're going to ask, how much is that kit? Well, that kit at Walmart is $67. So which to me, a lot of the kits you look at are well over $100. Most of them $200-$300 depending on the kit. This is your basic kit. The most important things in here, of course, is going to be your water and your food and your shelter materials that are in here, of course. Things like your light and your fire starters and your rope, those kind of things. What would I do if I wanted to spruce this kit up a little bit? Let's talk about that just for a second. I think it's got plenty of water for 72 hours. It's got a source to grab water with, the bag, right? And it's got the food. But what it doesn't have, oh, excuse me, it does. I forgot. These are 2 packets of water purification pills, right? So you've got enough to treat for 2 people. This is handy, right? So you could actually put water in here, put your treatment in there, and have yourself some drinkable water. And that'd be quite a bit of drinkable water, right? So you could actually, water-wise, be out there for more than 72 hours. So that being said, I still probably would add one of those Sawyer minis in here, or at least a life straw, right? To make this kit a little bit extra. Like if we're going to rip curl this kit, right? We're going to put a water filter in there. I'm going to put a wider tape in there, maybe 2 more rolls of tape, be the 1-inch or 1.5-inch rolls that are the cloth tape that stick real well, and one of the waterproof tapes, the kind that are a little bit padded as well. And I might even put a roll of Coban in there. So Coban is a material you'll see vets use it a lot. It goes around, say, a dressing and sticks to itself really well to help keep it where it's supposed to be. So I might add that to it. Now, I think the hand sanitizer, there's plenty there. And don't forget, you can start a fire with this too, right? It is flammable. So we've got that. I think it's great that it has the survival blankets. I think those are fine. Now, what I might add into this kit is at Walmart for like 11 bucks, I think it is, or something, they've got a survival blanket tarp, right? And I think it might be big enough to make a shelter with. If not, I would just get a cheap 10x10 tarp and throw it in there, or 10x12 tarp and throw it in the bag. There's plenty of room. But I would at least get that emergency blanket tarp they have. It's super heavy duty. It's grommeted. It's silver on one side and it's orange on the other. You can build a shelter out of it. You can actually, if you put a 10x12 tarp in there an inexpensive one. And that one, you could use that survival blanket to put on the ground and use to maybe even fold over you for keeping you warm if you had to sleep. And the tarp you could use to build your structure along with the paracord. Now, if you want to see how to do that right away, because I haven't done a video on it yet, go to Survival Living. I'm telling you what, CFP, brilliant tarp he built just here recently. A plow front tarp shelter. That's something that anybody can do. Go check it out. Tell him Rip sent you. Tell him you're a ripper and that you're giving him the thumbs up, right? So, adding a tarp and maybe a survival tarp, right? But that's another thing I might add. Now, I think that the ice pack is probably plenty because these I've never used a whole lot, but I do have occasions where I do. The burn relief gel. I think that's probably adequate, but you could always put some burn gel little packets into the kit if you wanted to spruce it up. The toilet paper, I think, is great. Of course, it was in a Ziploc bag, but I'd make sure to put this one in a good Ziploc bag. The elastic bandage, I think that one's frying, but like I said, I might add a big roll like this of Coban, right? Maybe even 1.5 inch and a 4-inch roll into the kit. Won't take up much room, and it's great. Now, the Moleskin. Also at Walmart, they got the thick Moleskin, cost a couple bucks. I would get the thick Super Duty stuff, they call it, or whatever. I showed it in a video that I put it on the base of my magazines to help keep from rubbing my side when I'm carrying. I would get that super thick stuff and just add some of that to the kit, right? So you have more than just that. Also, I would add, this looks like it might be 2 pairs of gloves. I'd probably add another 4 pairs of good nitro gloves. And if you want good ones, go to Harbor Freight and get yourself those 9mm black, they call them the Venom or something like that. Get yourself those gloves. Those are tough. They're poke and tear resistant. They still can be poked through and torn, but they're resistant. And I use those things all the time. They're super tough. You can even reuse them as long as it's not biological. If you're just dealing with grease and stuff like that, you can wash your hands with them and put them into a used bag into the kit. But I'd go get that to spruce it up, right? And the things I'm giving you to spruce up aren't going to add a whole lot to it. Might bring the kit up to $100 max, but they definitely will be something that you will be thankful that you put in the kit. Now, that being said, when it comes to these sterile swabs, this is cheap. Go to Walmart, get what they call a wound care kit. It's like $5, and it has a wide variety of gauzes, different kinds of wraps and pads and everything else. Add that to the kit so you have more than just these 2 gauzes, right? And the 2 rolled gauzes. You won't be sorry. And that's a cheap kit and cheap insurance. I think the swabs, that's probably enough, but you can always go in your bathroom and steal some of your Q-tips and put them into a small Ziploc and add that to the kit. I think this has probably got plenty of Band-Aids, but what I might add is some of the big, 1.5 inch wide, heavy duty, all weather Band-Aids, the big ones. You might get yourself some of those. I like those because they really cover a wound well, they stick well, and well, they're just handy to have. So I'd add that to it. Now, as far as light, I think you're fine. You've got one with batteries and one without. I think that's spectacular, right? Of course, like I said, get yourself the all-weather matches and load this little match holder up, right? Doesn't make any sense to have an empty one. I think that would be a really good thing to do. I would also probably just throw in a cheap Bic lighter, right? Wouldn't hurt to have a Bic lighter. Remember, 1 is none, 2 is 1, and well, 3 is a party, right? Right. And we like to party here at Rip Curl, right? So I think that's probably a good amount of paracord, but you might want to throw in another little wrap of paracord if you have it lying around. As far as the tweezers go, yeah, I like these tweezers. They work just fine, but I might go to, if you're there at Walmart and stuff, get yourself a good pair of steel tweezers, maybe the long ones, right? In case you have to fish something out of somebody's throat that they have stuck in there, but you can see it, right? Get yourself a set of stainless steel long tweezers. I'd add that. I love the fact that it has safety pins. I think that's awesome. I love the 10-in-1 tool. I might upgrade and put a pair of EMT scissors in there. You can get them at Harbor Freight for like probably $2 or less on sale. You can get them there. They're great. They work great. You can probably even get them at Wally World. But get the bigger set that are really meant for cutting clothing away, because when somebody's hurt and you need to get at that wound, you're going to want to just shear those clothes open, right? So use these for your bandage, but get a pair of the EMT style shears, okay? They won't cost you much. Throw them in the bag. The fire starter, well, I think that's adequate for a ferrocerium rod starter, especially since you have other options to start in there. Now, some things that weren't already here that I might add is I would probably put in some medicines. Go to your medicine cabinet, get your Ziploc bag, throw in some Advil, some aspirin, some cold medicine, some antacids are a really good one. You know, if you have other prescription medicines that you need, maybe label and put those in there just so you have them just in case. I think it would be a pretty good kit after that point. If you guys have any other suggestions, because I know there's other stuff we could put in here, like maybe even stuff in an extra sweatshirt, right? Or a blanket. In fact, that'd be a really good idea. Roll up a nice wool blanket or something and stuff it into that thing. But another blanket, even if it's just a comfy, cozy blanket. So that's going to be your test for today. Put it in the comment sections, all the things you think you could add to this kit that might be good ideas that you didn't see here, or things you might put more of, right? And things like, there's another one that just popped in my mind. This kit should have a tourniquet. It really should have a tourniquet. And I'll probably do another video of things that I add to this kit that I think I needed, right? That would be a good idea. But a tourniquet, we got to have a tourniquet, right? So at least a stick with a piece of rope in here, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this is a good idea. It's a good way to get somebody started into thinking of preparedness. And in fact, to make it fun for them, you might also say, hey, I got this kit for you because I wanted you to be ready for anything that you may run into. I hope you enjoy it. Put it in your car or put it in your house, and that way you have it with you. But the other thing I might do, you could even add an MRE into it, but I would put a list of things that you would add to customize the kit on a piece of paper in the card that you send with this gift that gives them something to do. Because think about it, how cool would that be? They're like, this is really neat. They open it up, they're like, cool, and then they read your list and they're like, oh yeah, that would be a good idea too. That would be a good idea. And then they add things that they think of that they might need in there that you might not have for them, because everybody's an individual and have different needs. They will then go out and have a fun day with all of their gift cards they got at Walmart, making that kit from a 2-person survival kit to a 72-hour, what does it say here? Yeah, 72-hour waterproof 2-person survival kit. They may pack that into a 4-person survival kit or a 2-person deluxe, right? And that's how we make people preppers without having to lay the heavy on them and make them think you're cuckoo. Anyway, because we all know we're not, we're just prepared, right? And it also helped make them feel at ease. And what a better gift to give than the gift of security to someone you love. Anyway, stay safe, stay secure, always be aware of your surroundings, especially now. Check out the videos out there in the big cities. It's getting nuts. And be getting prepared and ready for anything that may come your way. Until the next video, adios.